Professor Madeleine Campbell is very much part of the team who are going to be driving forward the long-term welfare strategy for greyhound racing, short, medium and long-term, I think it's fair to say. But I just wanted to reflect with you, Madeleine, on the strides that have been made so far, because they have been quite significant. And that, of course, has been reflected in the recent rehoming and injury data as well. Have you been impressed with what we've done so far?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, they were ambitious targets which were set. They were obviously set before I joined last September, and so it's great to see them being met. Absolutely, really pleased about that. But obviously, at the same time, never complacent and always determined, to just keep driving them down, down, down all the time.
Obviously, the injury recovery scheme has played a massive part, and also the greyhound retirement scheme. And I wondered what your thoughts are on that as a previous homer of greyhounds. There's a lot of greyhounds retiring, a lot of homes we need to find. What generally, based on what you found, do you find to be the case going forward? Is it a concern?
I don't think it's a concern, but it's certainly an area to which we need to pay a lot of attention. And it will be one of the many areas in which there's a real shared responsibility. So obviously there's a retirement scheme within GBGB, but as you will have seen throughout the strategy, also we're working a lot with the charities who sit within the Greyhound Forum. And of course, many of them have great expertise in homing as well. So we'll be working with them, to really understand how we can best promote homing. And also, you will have seen maybe within the strategy, there are some work streams of research around why, when it doesn't work, why is homing not working, or why are certain dogs not getting homed? Because we know some dogs are easier to home than others, for example. And so there's already actually a project underway on that to try and really understand that, because if we can understand why, then we can kind of go a step backwards and see what we can do about helping to address that problem before it even happens to a certain extent. And some of that will be, the way the strategy is organized, it's across the animal's lifetime, because some of actually what contributes to whether the dog gets homed or not successfully is what happens to it very early in its lifetime, for example, and how well socialized it is and how used it is to a domestic environment before it ever gets to the point of retirement.
Absolutely. It's all a lot of work. How important is funding, do you think? Do we need more money in this sport?
I mean, funding is important, and the encouraging thing is actually quite a lot of what's within the strategy is within the current welfare budget, so is already funded, and some of it is already underway, and some of that will happen in those kind of short-term work streams I was just talking to you about. But there is, of course, an additional need for funding around this strategy. It's a substantial strategy, as we've already discussed. So, and we have already initiated conversations with the BGRF about that. I think my impression of those conversations is there is an understanding that the strategy is what needs to be done. And so I'm really looking forward to those conversations going forward.